Hi, guys.
You guys.
Hello. Welcome to the Taylor Swift podcast experience.
Taylor Swift of it all.
She's in her lawsuit era.
I love that for her.
Life of a defendant.
Which may be what she needs to change this album to.
I mean, then Confessions of a Defendant. Let's see. So if you haven't seen, because I think it just came out today, Taylor Swift is getting sued by a performer named Marin Wade. Yes, Marin Flag or Marin Wade, who is a performer based
an actual
showgirl.
Not the fake showgirl that
yes, like an actual Vegas showgirl who has been doing a kind of live singing musical performance on stage since 2014 called Confessions of a Showgirl. And she owns the trademark to Confessions of a Showgirl. That's the name of her show. That's her branding. That's, she's got merch. She has a book called Confessions of a Showgirl. And so she has filed a trademark infringement lawsuit arguing that the album title and various other things called Life of a Showgirl are infringing on her trademark. So.
Which there was a lot of speculation when Taylor dropped this album, whether she was going to get a trademark infringement from the Pam Anderson movie, which was also similarly titled, I believe. I have to look it up. But it was also about a showgirl, and everyone was like, oh, like Taylor's just reheating Pam Anderson's nachos, which, like, I really want a new saying. That's so disgusting.
It's the last showgirl. Yeah. Oh, you're
There we go. Come back on.
There we go. Yes, I can hear you now.
And that's on being a millennial.
There we go. I had time to create this lovely banner now at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. So already it was like a matter of time, and as this complaint astutely points out, it was my favorite. I kind of guffawed when I read it. Taylor Swift is very litigious over trademark and copyright infringement matters.
Right.
And this complaint basically says she knew what she was doing and she knowingly did it anyway.
Right.
And that is egregious, and plaintiff is entitled to damages, which I thought they really drove that home nicely. But also a little part of me was like, hey, karma. Olivia Rodrigo is out there somewhere just like.
Well, and we were even saying, like, this morning, like, I sent you that thing and said Taylor was seen next to Olivia at some party or something. And even though they're not talking, they're not posing for pictures, there were headlines saying, oh, their feud has been settled. Everything's been put to rest. Yeah. And I said, like, why do you think she's trying to kind of create that narrative? And it's possibly because she knew this lawsuit was dropping.
Good chance.
Yeah. Right. So just to kind of say, no, see, I can cooperate with other artists and I don't sue everybody that I come after.
There's also the chance because she just did the I Heart Radio Music Awards.
Right.
Which was basically just like, we're just going to give all the awards. We're going to make up awards for Taylor Swift.
Right.
There was a lot of dialogue about how awkward her and Travis are. Now, that's my algorithm. So, of course, my algorithm isn't going to be like, oh my God, they're perfect. They're sweets. She finally found her man. My algorithm isn't that male-centered or Taylor-centered, but, there was some dialogue that, these two aren't.
They seemed a bit
They're not giving rom-com.
Yeah.
They're not giving happily ever after.
Yeah.
Taylor bullied Olivia. You know what? I kind of agree.
Just put that up there. Oh,
to be
look at that.
clear, I don't do trademark or copyright regularly. I have taken both a trademark and a copyright case. 1 and 1. That's it. So this is not my field. I find trademark stuff just the patent and trademark office is incredibly boring, but I'm also a little jealous of anybody who could get the patent bar, who can like take the extra step and pass the patent bar, because like it just seems like a fun area of law.
Yeah.
It seems like a fun area of law for the clients you would be working with.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of. And I mean, you know, obviously, every once in a while you get a case like this. Yeah. So, okay, so just to kind of recap the lawsuit, in 2014, Marin Flagg, who I'll just call Flagg for the rest of this, began writing about her experiences being a showgirl working in the entertainment industry in Nevada, in Las Vegas. And then she started doing a column in a paper called Confessions of a Showgirl. Then she went on tour with this over the course of a decade. Confessions of a Showgirl has performances, writing, there's a book, there's digital media, and she just tours the country talking about Confessions of a Showgirl, some of her interactions with various famous people. In 2015, she registered the trademark for Confessions of a Showgirl and has been using it consistently ever since. And again, this is how she's framing it. Then in 2025, Taylor Swift and her affiliated business entities adopted Life of a Showgirl and began using it in commerce. And as she points out, they did not do so quietly. Within weeks, the designation was affixed to consumer goods, stamped onto labels, tags, and packaging, and just deployed as a source identifier across retail channels, all directed at the same audience plaintiff has spent years cultivating. They share the same structure, the same dominant phrase, and the same overall commercial impression. Both are used in overlapping markets and directed at the same consumers. She points out a trademark search would have revealed that this is a thing. And this is where she says what you were talking about. Defendants are sophisticated commercial actors with dedicated legal and brand management teams responsible for Swift's portfolio of more than 170 active and pending trademark registrations. Indeed, they are not merely familiar with trademark law, they are among its most vigorous enforcers, having filed multiple federal actions to seize goods from vendors selling trademarked merchandise near concert venues. They possess direct knowledge of the harm that trademark infringement inflicts on a brand, having leveraged that very harm in federal court when it served their interest to do so.
All I could hear was, "I'll sue you." That fucking line from Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. And I'm like, bro, you do sue people and you threaten to sue people all the damn time. Like, does she not know what a cease and desist is? That's why we say that about you.
Right.
Oh, they say I'll sue you. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you're sending letters saying you're going to sue people.
And this is the part that I think is the most interesting. The U.S. Patent Trademark Office confirmed what any competent search would have revealed. When defendants, meaning when Taylor Swift, applied to register the Life of a Showgirl, the office refused on the grounds that defendant's designation is confusingly similar to plaintiff's established mark. Defendants were therefore placed on actual notice that their chosen designation was likely to be confused with a mark that already belonged to someone else. And in case you're wondering, they did not get that response until November 25. So the album came out October. So that's why they didn't immediately do, or they haven't done anything probably, is because they already have. So... And then, I think the other thing, this is the damages argument, and this is the part that I think that if it goes to a jury, the result is textbook reverse confusion. A junior user's overwhelming commercial presence drowns out the senior user's mark until consumers begin to assume that the original is the imitation. And that speaks to the damages, right? Not just that she's losing her brand, but that people are going to assume that she is copying Taylor.
And 11 years of hard work down
the
drain.
Right.
Because what happens is that senior user, or that more dominant user, then just subsumes
everything.
Like you said, there's brand confusion, there's people accusing of copying.
Oh, your sound went out again. It's Taylor. She's We are working on the sound thing. Nope. No sound. There we go.
Is it horrible if I use computer speakers?
It's cutting out.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Do you have millennial headphones you can plug into your computer? Oh, your sound's out again. You're just watching two middle-aged women attempt to maneuver technology at this point.
Okay. What about that?
That works.
Okay, that doesn't cut out.
That doesn't cut out.
Is it? I know. Is it bad? Does it sound bad?
Keep talking.
Mary had a little lamb, fleeces white as snow.
It's cutting out a bit.
Canny? Okay. Let's see what we can do here. Well, you keep going.
Well, while she figures that out, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to pull up the complaint. Let's see. So just to show you the confession. Oh, wait, I don't have this actually added. Okay, so just to show you, this is Confessions of a Showgirl. This is the trademark that Marin Flag has registered. Let's see, first use in commerce was 2014. So this is her registration. And then what we have here is, this is Taylor Swift's application for the life of a showgirl. You can see this up here, life of a showgirl. And what it says here is that they have refused it because of a likelihood of confusion. So there's the market argument. So, I mean, this is a little bit more unusual, I think, for a trademark argument. Sometimes what you have is somebody saying that they have been using it in commerce for a long time, but they don't necessarily have this official, this official document, or maybe they haven't used it in 10 years. Like they did have it registered, but they kind of fallen out of use. Oop. No, there's static. Nope.
Hello?
Okay.
Did I do it?
I think you did it. You sound better.
For the next 5 minutes.
For the next 5 minutes.
2 audio interfaces, so if I have to switch it out.
Okay.
But I just started pushing buttons on it because
until eventually
somebody was like, "I swear, not all millennials are like this." It's actually probably just.
It's. I mean, you've seen me try to use StreamYard.
Yeah. But what I was saying earlier, a similar trademark infringement issue came up. Now, I didn't look into it before going into this, so maybe I can look into it and make some videos about it over on TikTok or something. But Lady Antebellum,
they just settled out of court.
They changed their name to Lady A. I actually have seen Lady A. She's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But eat before you go, because she sings a lot of songs about food, which is like ideal content. Like there's nothing I love more than food. But they, in trying to be woke, changed their name from Lady Antebellum to Lady A, stealing a black woman's stage name.
Right.
And then bowled her over. And she did sue, and apparently they just settled out of court, but that was a rough one. Yeah.
So that's, I mean, Holly and I were talking about this earlier, and she was saying that, but it just seems like the person who has more money is the person doing this, which does make me wonder if this Marin Flag, if she is trying to, either on the one hand, I feel like she's well placed. Like I don't think I've ever seen a trademark case where the person is like, here's me continually using the trademark in the exact same type of work, like stage show, singing, music, all the same thing. And then also you have a rejected trademark.
Right.
So
and to be clear, your trademark has like certain categories, right? So if you're selling goods, that would be trademarked. and you can have different categories of trademark. So this specific trademark, she's saying
Is
all
like
overlaps with Taylor's.
Yeah. So like Holly and I were saying, Lady Gaga, she has this like Mayhem tour, and she got in a copyright trademark issue with Mayhem, which is, I believe, an Australian surfer brand, because they have hoodies with very similar typeface that says the word Mayhem on it. And she wound up winning that. And part of that argument is that she's ultimately in entertainment, and the merch being connected to the entertainment is different than, you know, trying to do it same thing. So just because they have two hoodies, but in this case, it's 100% overlap. You know, it's not like Lady Gaga's not
live shows and singing to people.
Right. Yeah. Musical stuff. And yeah, is continuing to go on. I'm just going to pull up her
complaint.
Well, I'm going to pull up her a showgirl, her branding, so that you can kind of see
crazy, like why Taylor chose this era is so strange to me. Also, to whoever, just Khaleesi, is this loud enough? I turned it up a bit. Turned it up to 11.
So let's see. I mean,
so this is, look how cute she is.
I know, it's
her little feather. Her little feather. It's like 3 times.
Her little feather.
Her little feather.
So yeah, this is
perfect.
This is her, and I think Marin Wade. She got stuck in a birthday cake once. There's your showgirl credibility right there. Getting stuck in a birthday cake.
Honestly, if you've popped out of a cake, you are a showgirl.
That's the bar.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I'll just kind of like scroll through.
She's on what Sarah's getting at is she is on very good footing.
Yeah.
Right? There's no discontinued use. She didn't retire. She's still doing this show in one form or another. She has a podcast that she does.
Right.
And she actually has the trademark.
Right?
Like, it's not just implied trademark. Like, this is trademarked in the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office.
See if she added that. I don't think she did. But yeah, I mean, like, because a lot of times when you see these trademark cases, what's happened is it's a person who had the trademark, but they haven't used it in 10 years. Or they've been using it, they've been making merchandise or something, but they have never bothered to actually register.
Right.
So, and now what you have is you've got Taylor Swift, like, having received a refusal from the trademark.
More than that, the trademark office was like, hey, this is confusing.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, that's...
And to just go ahead anyway, which again, like, the showgirl thing is so far from what Taylor Swift does and is, I'm sorry, capable of doing.
Like, you know, you haven't listened to the album, and we still need to figure out a way.
I refuse.
We still need to figure out a way to do like a listen. We can't obviously play it on here. We can't play it on YouTube because of like copyright stuff. But what I'm thinking of doing is we just listen to it. We mute ourselves when the song is playing, and we have other people listen with us, because I need to see your reactions to some of these songs.
Wait, MJ. Yeah, thank you. Does it matter that she's used TS Showgirl songs to advertise? Has she?
I think I did see online that somebody said she has put some TikToks with Taylor Swift music in the background.
I mean, doing a TikTok, I think, is one thing. Although, if it's the brand page, you know, there's something to be said there. But also, if she's kind of doing it tongue-in-cheek as like, I'm the actual real showgirl, I think it depends on the context.
Yeah.
Tucson, Arizona. I love Tucson. Very beautiful city. Kind of, sometimes. It's a beautiful city.
Let's see.
In every city, there is a place where it's the dark, shadowy place, and we do not go there. In Phoenix, it's Scottsdale.
Do you have to
listen to the songs? So here's the thing. I did read the lyrics, and I was like, no, I'm not in. If she's the songwriter of our generation and writing this,
But I think here's the thing. When you read the lyrics, it's terrible. But when you actually hear how it's put to the music, it's also really bad. So I think that you have to do both, because it doesn't just suck lyrically, it sucks sonically. And I feel like, but you need that kind of.
The Donald Trump song comes on the radio a lot, so I have heard that one.
Donald Trump
Keep
song.
It on the Land, the sea, the sky. I pledge allegiance to your hand, your sneeze, your thighs, or whatever she says. Like, fuck. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. Does she know what keep it 100 means?
I don't know what keep it 100 means.
Like, keeping it real.
Oh. I don't know. I think it's like I think it's a thing he does with his team, like it's a football. Like he has a slogan or something. Like she
is too old to be centering her life around men like this. I need her to get another hobby.
Well, she'll have kids soon, and that'll be the hobby.
I am Officer Pound Cake.
I should have worn my Afro Man shirt. Yeah, I that's why I want you to hear it, because it's like, yes, the lyrics are bad, but the sound is also bad. And I just think it's like, you've got to hear how bad it is. It's like,
I've also heard some of cancel. So I've heard everything that's trending on TikTok.
Okay.
So we're all on the same page. If it is trending on TikTok, I have probably heard it.
Which means you have heard the total of the 4 or 4.5 minutes that is actually okay. Because it is a
thing. I like my friends' kids. I want to gouge my ears out.
It's like she made it so that middle-aged Republican moms on TikTok can take pictures of themselves and their friends before the PTA meeting.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God, I'm about to get canceled.
Yeah, that's what I mean. See, the fans are clamoring.
I really wish, and maybe we should do it on my channel, because I don't care about a violation, right?
Yeah.
And then or we could even do it on TikTok, just go for it.
And just see how long it takes.
Just see how long it takes for somebody to I don't know, find us, to hunt us down.
Got to get hype before the PTA. Pumpkin spice latte season doesn't start till late August. We got to do something.
And bringing it back to this complaint, one of the brands that Taylor Swift has had commercial offerings for Life of a Showgirl is Starbucks.
Oh, that's true.
The worst coffee company I can think of.
I'm
going to keep it 100 right now. I would rather drink McDonald's coffee.
I also think, because I was wondering why there wasn't more coffee of a showgirl, things where it's noun of a showgirl.
Latte of a showgirl.
Right? Why that wasn't the branding. And now I wonder if it's this, right? Because this is where the confessions of a showgirl, right? The blank of a showgirl is the part, right? So if they do that, if they do latte of a showgirl, it means they're taking that.
Yeah. A lot of the people who do reaction videos are pretty big pages, and I would imagine they have some sort of permission. You'll also notice a lot of those reaction videos are people being like, oh my God, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever heard, even when it's
right.
Not, right? So if I'm going to be critical of something, Taylor Swift has a history of using copyright and trademark against anything that's critical of her.
We could have showgirl sarcasm hour, sarcasm of a showgirl. And the more we praise it, it's just implied. So if we say this is the best
of a shadow band girl.
Taylor Swift.
Look, Brian, if you guys don't follow Brian Luscious on TikTok, you probably have a lot more nice feelings.
You're probably employed. We're both employed, but we are spiritually jobless.
That is 100% right. He renames her albums, and I never can remember the actual name of her album. TTPTSD. Yeah, that's its name.
But Life of a Shadow Band Girl, which actually would have saved her this copyright infringement lawsuit. So
yeah, honestly, and Life of a Shadow Band Girl would have worked so well with Canceled.
It's true.
Like, it would have been kind of Reputation 2.0 coded. Like, that's actually a cuter name.
Yeah.
Is Lively-Baldoni a topic for today? I think we are going to jump into some of the defamation claims, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian Licious is so funny. And it's even funnier that people don't catch just the sarcasm and the, like, satire of it all.
Right. He's the kind of hater that only a real Swiftie could be. Like, he's kind of like, you have to love her to hate her that much. Let's see.
She's blowing up. We are going to get to Lively-Baldoni. We haven't gotten there yet.
I always get weirded out when I get lots of text messages because you're the only person I text. So I'm like, well, you're here. If you're here, who is texting me?
That's not true. You are so popular.
I am the most popular. It's true. No, I'm just kidding. Why? I'm
this
not popular.
Woman will be like, I was talking to so-and-so. I was talking to so-and-so. And I'm like, how do you have that much energy?
You can just text them. Does Taylor not respond to your texts?
I don't try to text people, so maybe that's my problem. Yeah, somebody asked earlier about another content creator in the Lively-Baldoni space. I don't really want to comment on them. They are welcome to their opinions, the same as anybody else. But I will say some assumptions were made in coming to the opinions. So do with that what you want.
Well, and like, I think the thing is, if you ask for lawyers, you're going to get 5 opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I saw somebody had asked earlier, where they were saying, what was your opinion about, it is Jed. Sorry, Jed's blowing up my phone. He's trying to, we're planning the smear campaign for later after I log off. And he's on Hawaii time, so it gets kind of tricky. So now I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, like, yeah, I mean, I've asked a couple lawyers about like the sanctions or not the sanctions, the reprimand. Yeah. And I mean, one lawyer that I worked with, he just said, I wouldn't give a shit. If I didn't have to pay money, I wouldn't care. And so
the client probably doesn't care either if the client doesn't have to pay money.
I've said this from the beginning, but I said I think that the big win in this whole thing PR-wise for Wayfarer was getting the narrative changed from the Me Too movement to TMZ and pointing out the celebrity feud and the A-listers that are being brought in and the way this has turned into a giant kind of war between the two of them. And that I think the reframing of that was the success. And if I were them, I would be completely happy with what Friedman's done. Could it have been done better? Absolutely. Like, there's tons of things that in retrospect, but
from the get, I have said both complaints were sloppy.
Yeah.
The difference between both of those complaints being sloppy is that we don't know how much time Justin's team had.
Right.
Before that New York Times CRD complaint. Like, we don't know how much time they had and forewarning.
Right.
So if the goal is to respond to that, you're going to put out a sloppy complaint because you're trying to do it quickly.
Right.
And sloppy work happens when you're trying to respond quickly. And I've also been in that situation where my client was like, hey, I'm doing something I told you I was going to give you warning about, but didn't give you any warning. So you can file that petition tomorrow, right? And I'm like, fuck. Okay.
I suppose,
so you put something sloppy together. And I was admonished by the court for my sloppy complaint. You know what happened? Nothing.
Yeah. And that's what he said. He said he's gotten this before. He said he's gotten it, it wasn't a Rule 11 motion, but he said he's gotten an admonishment for improper group pleading.
Right.
And it's like, it is what it is. And he said, he even said, like, I said, would you, do you go back to that judge? And he said, I've been back before the same judge. And it was what it was.
Right.
Right.
Right. So to be sloppy, like you said, certain goals were achieved, and we don't know if that was the client's only goals. So when a client walks into your office, a competent attorney, and I will say a lot of big law lawyers don't do this because big law lawyers are selling you a case to get more billable hours, right? So, but a competent attorney, an attorney that actually cares about their client, will say, what are your goals here? What are you looking to do? Do you really just want to fight with your neighbor for the rest of your life? Because I'll go file that complaint tomorrow. But if you want to have conflict resolution, here's some ideas to do that.
Right.
Right. So good attorney is figuring out what the client's goals are, and the client's goals here may never have been the money. I mean, for Steve Sarowitz, it likely wasn't.
Right. It's
for Justin and Jamie, it was probably about the lies that were being told about them.
I think I have had this theory, and I think this is feeling a little more true as we learn more about some of the internal conversations. I've had the theory that Sarowitz took control of the lawsuit in exchange for funding the lawsuit, that the conversation was, we're all going to stick together. You're going to follow our plan. And if you don't, you're on your own for the legal bills. But if you go with us, I will cover it.
Yeah.
And
Sarowitz and Heath definitely have been in charge. Mm-hmm. Justin is just not the leader like that.
Yeah.
Right. But all that to say, like, for something to be negligent misrepresentation, or, you know, to have a malpractice claim, you need to know what the client's goals were and whether those were achieved.
Right.
Because simply losing out, you don't just jump to damages and say, look, there are damages here. This is malpractice. Like, there are 3 other elements you have to meet.
Right.
So.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I think he's done it. Yeah, like you said, it just depends on what they wanted. I think one of our first conversations about Lively, like the very first time I think we talked about this on the phone, I think I told you, like, if I was her attorney, I would be asking her, what do you want? Like, in an existential way. Do you want him to never work again? Do you want him to, like, get divorced and move to Milwaukee and, you know, start an actual cult?
Yeah.
You know, like, that's like, what's your end game in all of this? Because I think some of what's going on, at least on the Lively side, is what is reasonably achievable, and then what might you have to give up? Because if the perception is you are throwing all of your resources to burning this guy's career to the ground, how is that going to impact whether or not people want to work with you in the future, right? You have a lot to lose as well.
What are your personal goals as well, right? Like,
right.
Do you care?
Right.
And she may very well have walked into that attorney's office and said, I know I'm done.
Yeah.
Look at the media. I know that I'm done. I know that I cannot go through this with another movie. Because it seems like every movie people are like, she's a bad actress. And, like, there's just so much negative discourse. Rightfully so.
I mean, it could be that it's, you know, she told somebody at Sony apparently she was going to retire.
So maybe she said, I'm done and I'm taking them down with me.
Yeah. That, you know, and then the question is
I'd love to never see Ryan again. I'd love to never see, like, I at times find myself feeling deeply, genuinely sorry for Blake.
Pam, how do we feel about this? Back to Canada.
Not because of what she's done, but because she has to live with Ryan Reynolds. And that seems awful.
I mean, the good news is every 6 months you wake up to a new looking guy. So there's that, you know, the hairline just, now suddenly she doesn't.
And her best friend is Taylor Swift, who will say she likes her friends canceled and then do nothing publicly to support her friend.
I mean, the shift from Steve Sarowitz texting Justin and Jamie and saying, you know, no matter what happens, even if I lose all my money and we never make another film, I will always love you and Jamie. And I'm like, yeah, where's your guy's emotional support billionaire? Where is she? She's in the wind. She's writing songs about getting canceled.
I couldn't imagine someone loving me that much that isn't related to me or hasn't known me for 20 plus years. I have like 2 friends that would ride with me like that, but, like, I can't imagine.
I feel like if Ryan Reynolds was suing you, I would be like that. Although I think that has more to do with Reynolds. Like, I'd be like, fuck him. I'm going to burn him to the ground.
So yeah, I think there's been a lot of sloppy lawyering along the way as well, but also there have been 2 filings a week for a year. And after a while, you're just like, I can't fucking edit another, like, you're copy pasting stuff.
Yeah.
So things that are done in a rush are done sloppily, and lawyers are humans. And also, Brian Friedman's house burned down in the midst of all this, right? So we're also forgetting that while drafting a complaint, he was facing a lot of personal stuff. And as much as we want attorneys to show up and be 100% brain power towards the client, sometimes in the back of your head you're like, fuck my photo albums, okay, and cause of action number 2, right? Like, right, your brain brings your personal shit into your job. So
And I mean, that's kind of the thing too. It's like you have, with the lawyer, it's like you have one lawyer who's kind of the central thing and everybody's talking to him. And especially with Nathan, where he's got kind of that personal, that ongoing relationship. And then, you can tell other attorneys that you're working with, like, this is what's going on and this is what we're doing, but they don't have all the knowledge that you have. And you can see that in some of these filings. Like, I think Kevin Fritz, I think a few of his early filings, people were like, what the hell is he talking about? Like, he doesn't know this. It's like they don't know this other piece. And it's like, yeah, they don't. He just got brought in and he's like, this is what I think I know is going on.
So much of lawyering is not like pick one up and replace him with another. Like, so much of it strategy wise and content, like you're having conversations with the client and you're keeping notes, but you cannot, unless you're recording the conversations and expecting everybody else to listen to it, like,
which is, and that's,
stuff gets missed.
Yeah.
My boss and I joke about that a lot because I'm like, sometimes I just pray that the universe will make the decision for me and like, take me out of this career. And my boss is like, I'm pretty sure you can try, but I cannot take your cases, and the judge knows that, so you're stuck.
Could you stop wishing for that? Because I think democracy is failing, and I think that might be the monkey's paw. You can't be a lawyer if there's no more constitution.
I've thought about that a lot. Like, do I get my student loans forgiven? Because they literally destroyed my entire
career
on purpose too.
Huh?
Do we think I think it'll happen. I don't know. I think if it was going to happen before, I would have assumed it would have happened today.
Every day I'm saying it's going to happen today.
I imagine now it's going to happen afterwards. I think the court maybe wants to hear. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe they get it the morning of. It just seems crazy to me that the judge would not give them the scope of trial.
Right. I kind of wonder if he's thinking, waste your money. And I don't really, the in limine motions are also going to be PR issues for you, right? Because the perception is, and I mean, I'm not, I think I'm probably overthinking this. I don't actually think that Lyman is doing this. So disclaimer, I'm not actually saying he's doing this, but it is kind of funny to think that he's like, well, maybe they won't file as many in limine motions if they're afraid of the PR of the thing. Whereas if I rule, then they're going to start filing things and it'll kind of get buried. Because
he's over them. You can tell.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where like, he's like, I guess you get a sanction, but like no money damages because fuck both of you.
I mean, that's the Leslie Sloan thing was shocking to me because he has been nickel and diming a couple other things, where he's like, yeah, and you already get attorney's fees, we're going to do this. So he's aware of the cost. So for him to say to Leslie Sloan, well, you should have filed a Rule 11 motion way back when. I'm like, oh, okay. Jeez.
Yeah. Which it's stuff like that does make me like, I won't. It just is a very hard career. And there are times where I don't like anyone around me except for my like office of people.
Right. Like the actual staff.
But when your clients are lying to you and opposing counsel is being a dick, or I have like a pro se litigant that's obsessed and obsessive and just flooding the docket. And so it's like, there are just weeks where I'm just like, why did I do this again?
Why did I pick this job? You could be selling seashells by the seashore.
But it's rulings like that where I'm like, okay, this pro se litigant, maybe I should file something like a vexatious litigant motion.
Yeah.
Should I incorporate that into my sanctions letter? Right. And I'm like, I kind of think I should, because if we can extend that to like anti-SLAPP, should we extend it further to like, I'm going to do this thing if you don't dismiss? I think that's a fair and reasonable extension of Rule 11. So
right.
Stuff like this does kind of help me as a lawyer.
You're like, so I was reading TMZ and I had an idea.
I'm waiting for when I get to like copy paste from one of the court's orders. That's when I'll know that this was worth my time.
All those hundreds of thousands of pages of reading.
But yeah, with Leslie Sloan, he actually did say, or excuse me, Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
He did say, yeah, there could be a defamation lawsuit against you.
Yeah.
He denied her bringing in Nathan and Heath. He said, you had time to do this and you chose not to. And then said, but there's a potential defamation claim against you. So,
and I think this is where I think things get very interesting, because there's always been this incentive for Jones and Lively to turn on each other. There's always been this incentive. So, my thought is, Jones got these text messages from Abel and Nathan, right? She takes them to Blake, and there's a conversation. And maybe the conversation is one of these people, I don't know who, says, well, these text messages don't prove anything. And the other person is like, but if we go through discovery in a lawsuit, then we will find the rest of the evidence, right?
Right.
And then that's how this all gets started. And so my thought is, would the person who was saying, well, this doesn't prove anything, come to the front of the class? Because you have an opportunity to say, like, if Jones said, well, the text messages don't prove anything, but it's a start, then she can throw Lively under the bus. And if Lively said, well, these are just text messages, and Stephanie Jones said, well, I promise you there's going to be more.
Yeah.
Then she needs
There's
to throw her.
There's definitely a smear campaign here. I've been watching them and doing this.
And I suspect that Jones definitely did something, said something along those lines, right? There's more where that came from, but you need to do litigation.
And moreover, Blake's agent, Leslie Sloan, somewhere along the way has called Stephanie Jones a fucking liar.
Right.
Which makes for a great witness, a hostile witness, but also a great witness because...
Oh, God, I forgot about that. Fuck.
Right? Like... Which to me is kind of proof that Blake has a defamation claim against her because she knowingly repeated Stephanie Jones's lies without enough evidence, because those text messages do not show a smear campaign, in my opinion. Like... and that's opposite of a smear campaign where they're like, let's put out fluff and marshmallows about our next project.
That's the thing, is like the text messages themselves don't show the smear campaign. Like, even if there was a smear campaign, the evidence wouldn't be those messages. The evidence would be like, what did Jed Wallace do? Did he send $5,000 to a bot farm, right? So it would be something outside of those messages. So the question is, do the messages prove the smear campaign? I think the answer is no.
Yeah.
Do they imply that maybe there's more here? And the answer is, it depends on who's telling the story. And if it's Stephanie Jones, then she could say, well, I know this isn't very much, but just think of what you'll find in discovery.
Sure.
And if that's what happened, Lively has a cause, well, I don't know if she's a cause of action, but she has a
beef.
A beef. Yeah.
A beef. With Stephanie Jones, how do we know that a lot of what she's put out isn't made up, as far as no one can prove the provenance of the stuff taken from Jen's phone? And that's kind of what we're driving at, right? It's like, it seems that she has this world of information, right? Uh-huh. She lives within this universe of knowing what's going on from Jen Abel's perspective, because that's the person she's monitoring, wiretapping, anyway. Right? So she's invading Jen's privacy, but she doesn't have the world of conversations between Jed and Heath, and Jed and Justin, and Jed and Sarowitz, and whoever else, Melissa, Nathan, and those individual parties, right? If Jen is not on those conversations, we don't have that. Stephanie doesn't have that information. So what she's doing is she's got this universe of information and assuming these other conversations are being held.
Right.
Because what we receive from Jen and what the initial complaint shows us, and those initial round of text messages show us, is that they are saying, we don't want to smear Blake in the media.
Right.
We want her to be doing well. Hooray, she had a win today.
Right.
So what they're doing is directing their agents not to smear her.
So I do want to actually address this, because she says, what about preponderance of the evidence, though? They don't need some bot farm payment. There's the social media patterns in the text messages, right? Sort of. What you need is the part where Wayfarer is directing, because for the employment retaliation, it has to come from the employer. So what you need is the employer part where they're saying, go ahead and do this, or this is what we're going to do. And that's the thing. What you have between Jen and Melissa is, we hate her, we don't like her. But what you have from everybody else to Jen and Melissa is, let's just let this go. Yay, she got a win. Like, it's very lukewarm. There's no smoking gun. And I think at this point, if they had one, Lively needed to put it out there, because otherwise these claims could get dismissed.
And again, what we have from the like, you see those spikes in conversation, and you see like the baby bump video is a good example. You see the private text messages. Hey, is this us? No, this is
no,
not
it
us.
Isn't. Right.
Right. So now you have real-time text messages saying they're not doing that.
Right. They're responding to,
I honestly think that if the jury found, with the evidence that we've seen, that they directed that smear campaign, that would be appealable and reversible.
Yeah, I don't
it's
think
not reasonable.
The biggest thing that I think with the jury thing, this is like, I have, there's been that kind of theory from the beginning, and I've gotten increasingly convinced of it, that Lively didn't anticipate this going as far as it did, right? And I think one of the biggest pieces of evidence here is that the lawyer, and I kind of would love to know what her lawyers knew at the beginning of this, because the idea that Lively is going to say, or her attorneys are going to say to a jury, what Wayfarer was doing was they were doing online stuff because they were hoping to prevent her from speaking out. And then she's got these communications saying the religion is a cult, right? And they only have the rights to the film because they're in a cult. And he thinks he's the prophet of a new religion, right? And it's like, for her to have known that this other kind of conversations were happening and stuff she was saying about Colleen and this cult and the religion and stuff, I think the jury is going to kind of glom onto that and say, so tell us again how you think it's motivated by what happened 8 months ago, as opposed to like what conversations were happening over the summer. And so I'm still really surprised at some of the conversations Lively was having, because it's like, well, these were always going to go in front of the jury, because now they can put them in as like, this is what we had to be worried about.
Right. Somebody said, what about the texts?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that really is enough to show that he's directing, especially when we have other texts contradicting the idea that he's directing it. But what he's saying is, I'm not feeling the protection.
Yeah. He doesn't.
And I don't know that that's enough. It doesn't look good for him. I'll fully give that to you. Like, that does not look good does not look good for Justin. But also, I'm a little unclear about what it was he was asking for, because it was something about Hailey Bieber. Right?
He was saying, like, I think he was saying this is the framing we would need, right? Or something. Yeah. And it was, but here's kind of here's the big thing for me. Here's what I think a jury is going to probably respond to is Jamie Heath and Jed Wallace had a conversation, right? And we don't fully know what the extent of that conversation was. We don't know what they talked about. But to me, that has always been the sus thing. And I've always kind of said, like, I need to know what happened in this conversation, because Baldoni wasn't in that conversation. So put him aside for a second, because Heath was. So, like, what did you guys talk about? And what we have is a voice memo from Jed where he comes back and says, like, we need to bait them. We need to put this out there. We just need to hang back and monitor and see what's going on. And it's like, going through Lively's expert reports, it's like, does that track? One of the things I said was, well, Jed did he sit around for 3 months doing nothing, right? So when we get her expert witness reports, we're going to see what it is that he was doing. And apparently he got paid to sit around and do nothing for at least 2 of those months, because Lively's own expert witness data shows that her negative mentions and the negativity around her name basically went back to baseline in the first couple weeks of September, and then just hung out there until she filed the lawsuit, or until she filed the CRD complaint. So it's like, okay, well, so what we've got are 2 months of this 3-month period where whatever Wallace is doing, it's not having the effect, according to Lively's own witnesses, right? So this is like the data, if they're going to massage the data, they're going to do it in her favor. And then we've got this voice memo where Wallace is saying, we got to sit back, we got to do this. And there's just not a thing where I'm seeing it and I'm like, this is what they did. And I think what Lively's going to need is she's going to need like a narrative coming up in a group chat, watch it develop, and then how it got portrayed to the media. And I don't see where that's happening. Right. It's just vague things about like, I wish this was different.
And if Blake had that evidence, 1, she would provide it to her experts, and 2, she would have presented it in her opposition to the motion for summary judgment.
Right.
Her opposition is her best evidence.
Yeah.
is it the right world? Is it the right word? There's a content creator on TikTok that has these really in-depth, thoughtful analyses. And she talked about Chaperone, and she was like, I just don't know that this is a smear campaign, because unfortunately, when you do something distasteful, especially as a woman, which is the, you know, kind of the point Blake is driving at, she's missed the off-ramp. When you do something distasteful in the media, other people are going to look to make content and have their own take, and they're going to start digging. And that's exactly what happened to Blake. Blake did a bunch of stuff that was distasteful back to back to back, and people were like, let's talk about the wedding. Let's talk about the clothing. Like you started to see this stuff come back up, and I don't see any indication that that was directed by Wayfarer or that they even knew those things existed. I don't know that Jamie Heath wants to, I don't know Jamie Heath, but like, maybe he wouldn't have hired her had he known all that.
I
don't know.
That's just it. I mean, you know, basically they asked in the deposition and they kind of said, I don't have any regrets because I don't have regrets. Not like I don't have regrets because it worked out well, but I don't have regrets because that's just not how I approach things. Right. This is a flex. That is either right word follows you. That is a flex. But yeah, I mean, I just, you know, and this is a good point too. And I think Not Actually Golden has hit on this, where those emails from Sony saying that it's her fault and her actions, I think will also, even though they're not necessarily going to be like testifying in the expert witness kind of category.
It's a neutral third party watching this stuff going down, saying she's doing this to herself, which I think is really big.
Yeah, it's kind of just, okay, but then I did see that user responded. Okay. It has to be a precarious position for Jen. To reduce potential damages, you have to argue that the PR was ineffective in case they don't buy the unintentional part. I don't think you have to argue it's ineffective. I think she's saying in the messages, I think they say back and forth, they wish they were doing more. I think they wish they were doing more than they were. I think, as particularly Nathan, I think is aware that she knows how to do more. And I think a lot of what they're saying is he's so arrogant and he won't kind of let us off the leash a little bit. But if she did what she was being asked to do, if Heath said, we're trying to de-escalate this as fast as possible. The other thing too is that Jen Abel was in those conversations where Heath was telling Stephanie, like, he says it more nicely than this, but he says, like, Stephanie, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm asking you to shut the fuck up.
Stop. I don't care what happened before. From today forward, do not say anything to the media. And Stephanie's like, but
Right. And so that's the thing is I also feel like, Jen would have seen that. And I think that's also part of Jen's response is I don't want to further get into, under Jamie's skin with him trying to stop everything. And then I don't even
cooks in the kitchen. I mean,
I don't even think that I guess they hired it. It may have gotten pitched, but I think that sounds like as far as it's got, right? Especially because they said for $125,000 a month, we can do all this. And they wound up paying them like $45,000 a month between Nathan and Wallace for 3 months. So it's like whatever they paid for. I don't think Nathan and Wallace are giving them something for a third of the price, right? So, yeah. Yeah. And I think, just to go back, sorry, because Caitlin's giving good, that comment from Sony makes an impression because here even industry bigwig, his credibility would trump Lively and Baldoni's. Also, because Sony has been there from the beginning in a third party, like they've seen this play out. Right. Plus they have history on her and him probably going into why we hired them or why we did the film in the first place. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I would have loved a defamation. I would have loved a defamation claim against Ryan Reynolds because I think it's a tough case, to be honest, because to prove that Ryan's statements caused damages, as opposed to just saying like they would have fired Justin either way after the CRD complaint came out, I think that's a tough thing to prove, that causation. But I would have loved to have seen that. But second best, I think, is Stephanie Jones.
So I have a question about Ryan Reynolds. That's
not his real hair. Those are plugs.
Oh, nothing on his face is real anymore except the beady eyes that get narrower every time you annoy him. Soon it's just going to be one eye. So if they get the final judgment, right, or whatever it is that triggers the appeal window. Let's say they file a request for reconsideration and they say we should have gotten an amended complaint from the dismissal, right?
I think what the judge does is the judge says you didn't file this timely, and right, because the motion for reconsideration should have come during or shortly after discovery.
I knew
Well
you'd like
said.
that.
Could not say it better. I love the third eye conversation. Okay. But I think what the judge says is that may be true, but you should have filed a motion for reconsideration way earlier. Now,
Okay.
that does put it on the record before the appeals court, but I think what the appeals court says is procedurally you should have brought this sooner, and so we're going to uphold the court's decision in the motion to dismiss.
Even if he had the Rule 11 motion going?
Which Rule 11 motion?
This one that just got dismissed like 2 days ago. Or got like denied 2 days ago. If there's a pending Rule 11 motion for the same case where they're arguing the whole lawsuit is frivolous, would it have made...
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying if that Rule 11 was still pending?
Like, because it just came down 2 days ago. So then it's like, is that... Because is there an argument that they shouldn't file it until after the Rule 11 motion is decided?
I mean, it would have been better to have filed it before, right? And here's all the things we found during discovery, and here's all the things we can prove now that we couldn't prove back then. Van Zandt, comments to WME.
Well, that was kind of the thing. If they get a new amended complaint, they could add anything they wanted at that point, right? Or anything they have now.
Within a world of reason, I mean, I think you say we're allowed to reallege our complaint. So the issue here, guys, is that based on what's on the record, if Wayfarer were to appeal, there is nothing on the record about Van Zandt. So to use that for your malice, you can't. Right? Hi, Whitney in the garden. So the question is, what is the record before the appellate court on appeal? And my concern is that if they do a motion for reconsideration to allow them to amend now, which the court would never buy, because the rule is for a motion for reconsideration, you have to do it, I think, 20 days, 15 to 20 days after the order, or upon getting new evidence as soon as practicable, which is such a, like, what is that? Right? But the idea in anything that's sort of gray like that is like, it cannot prejudice the other side.
Okay.
So if they were to file something well after the close of discovery in November?
Right.
And then wait until March, 2 months before trial, and be like, actually, we should be allowed to bring some of our claims to trial. The court is going to be like, pound sand.
Okay.
We are narrowing the scope. We have dispositive motions. Like, you don't get to...
Right.
Because that would reopen discovery, all that. So, and I think an appellate court would say the same thing. While these claims may have had merit, the parties lost their opportunity to get those claims before the court and amend their complaint.
So we're probably not getting a Wayfarer v. Reynolds.
No. And I don't know that they want to.
That's fair. I think they should do
this for a year and a half.
I think people should file $50 million lawsuits solely for my entertainment. So
we're having the time of our lives.
This is great.
Yeah, similar concept, right? Like, the court looked at Stephanie Jones's request to amend and add Melissa Nathan and Jamie Heath, and the court was like, girl, you had your chance. No, thank you. So,
but the defamation case against Jones, I mean, yeah, I think one of the benefits here is that Lively cannot file 13 amicus briefs on the docket. There's a lot, what they're suing over is we didn't harass her, and you know that, and we didn't smear campaign her, and you know that.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a fact trial on all of these issues.
Yeah.
And that's kind of great, because this is kind of one of my fears, was that this would get dismissed and we wouldn't ever get to fully really know what happened.
It's interesting too, because Stephanie Jones's defense is going to be, well, I've worked with Melissa Nathan, and I know that she has the tendency to go for blood, to go for the throat in the media, right? I've seen her engage in smear campaigns before. She has this reputation. And also, she's worked with Wayfarer, and she knows Wayfarer's proclivities for peace, right?
Right.
So it's interesting that you have these two, she's going to be like, no, this is true, and I made a logical leap.
Right.
Right? Because Melissa Nathan is who Melissa Nathan is.
Right.
And then on the other side, it's like, right, but you've also worked with us. We were your clients for a long time.
Right.
And you knew that it is not in our character.
And that's the thing. Like, I saw that Jack Black text thread with Melissa Nathan. I don't know if you saw this, but Jack Black, I think he's in a band, and one of his bandmates. Okay, I didn't know the name. I'm sorry.
I'm a Jack Black fan.
So one of his bandmates said something like pro-Trump or something, and they canceled a performance or canceled a tour or something. And Melissa Nathan was in the text messages, because apparently she is Jack Black's PR person. And she wrote up a statement, and then they had a discussion back and forth. And I think it was Katie Case who said, should we say like more about this? And she said, no, I don't want it to seem overly apologetic. Like, he's a man, like he can handle it. Like, we don't want him to try to look for sympathy, and then sent it out. Right. And it's like, yeah, I mean, lots of people are going to use PR people, and it doesn't mean that they're hiring them to destroy their enemies in the media. Like, there's tons of people, like, he just has her because she's capable, and she did this in like 5 minutes, and it was an impressive statement, Yeah. And it's like, that's why they're hiring her.
Right. I mean, she's been in the game for long enough that you would assume.
Right.
I would assume that she hasn't just engaged in smear campaigns, which is a phrase that is rendered almost meaningless.
Right.
I mean, now people are like, people are engaging against a smear campaign against Chappell Roan, and I'm like, or did Chappell Roan make a child cry? Like, I don't know.
Everybody wants to get on the right side of a discourse, and they want to get on the right side as soon as possible. Sure. And I've seen it. I've seen it with the stuff like making the Lively stuff, where it's like, I say something and people are like, you're not talking badly enough about Blake Lively, and therefore I'm not going to follow you. I'd rather follow these other creators. And I'm like, okay.
Hi.
It's like,
her, see you next Tuesday all day.
It's like, okay, but I'm more interested in, like, I just want to know what happened. I told people, and if you've been here for the last year since I've been making content, how many times have you heard me say, when Blake's evidence comes out, I'm going to argue her side. I'm going to make a video or something. We're going to mock trial. We were saying, like, let's do a mock trial, and I'll just be Blake Sterney.
Somebody on Reddit said they actually wanted me to argue for Blake's side. So if you want to do a mock trial and I can take Blake's side, I'm happy to do it.
Do you think she has enough to reasonably... No. Okay.
No, but I mean, I'm going to throw mud at the wall and see what you do with it.
Yeah. I mean...
it's the up and downside. I don't know how I want to couch this. Being a woman on the internet means people are going to be mean to you. Is it right? No. Is it sexist? Sure. Is it the state of the world? Yes. So to like make that the fault of one man who really just wanted you to like him,
or just
seems a little silly.
And like this, the thing with like Chappell Roan too, it's like everybody wants, and I will say, I'm gonna kind of call her out since we brought her up earlier, but Is I the Right Word kind of was doing this thing where she said, I think Chappell was at fault. And then I was thinking, even at the time, I was like, let's let it play out for a couple of days. Let's see if we get more information, because it's like you have a child telling a parent that the security did this.
And then the parent told the other parent.
Right. And then Chappell's saying, well, I have no idea what's going on. And then I was a little bit disappointed when like the security guard came out and said, like, I didn't I wasn't part of her team. I'm not part of Chapel's team. It was a different issue. And then Is I the Right Word was saying, I don't know if I buy it. And I'm like, do you not know if you buy it? Or have you kind of already committed to like Chapel's the problem? And you can't really go back and be like,
well, here's the thing. I don't know that I buy it. One, because she was like, I don't know who that security guard was. But now it looks like that security guard was assigned to her through the like Lollapalooza that she was playing at or whatever.
So it's like their staff.
So she did know this person was there for her. Like, that person was not working for the hotel. So like Chapel was sort of like, I don't know who that was. Let me lay down. So it's more like,
that was not a good look. Yeah. I mean,
right, like she just came out very much as like, I don't care. And I think she could have smoothed it over by being like, look, I have a lot of public anxiety and I'm really struggling in this career. And I have my security or anybody working around me is ultra diligent, and they went a little too far, and I didn't know that it happened, and I'm so sorry to this little girl.
Yeah.
And to make up for it, I'm gonna send her a signed CD.
Right. Something.
It would have gone sitting up.
Yeah.
Like, it would have gone a long way. The apology didn't help, and then like who the security was, she was like, I've never seen them. They must have worked for the hotel, which doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So I think Is I the Right Word was kind of landing on this, like, I don't know that I believe the security guard because she's already made a
maybe the security guard is now trying to,
it just does work for her. Like, of course he's gonna, like, it's like Blake's driver. Of course he's gonna back up.
Okay.
He's on her payroll.
You just reminded me of somebody asked me this, and I said I was going to go over this on live, and I also like your opinion. Blake's driver is a horrible witness for her with his story. His story for her is worse than if he said nothing. Like, than if he said.
Why do you think
so? That? Because he is saying at one point that Justin Baldoni told Blake Lively, when women told me to stop during sex, I kept going.
Right.
And that is not something that Lively is saying. And my thought is the jury is going to be so like, why would he say that? That it's going to remind them of that financial relationship. And then they're going to start considering the financial relationship of every single person.
Which on cross, that's where you start.
Right.
For Miss Lively, is that correct? How long have you worked for Miss Lively? And how much does she pay you?
Right. Like, it just... Did
she make you sign an NDA? Right? Like, I mean, you're asking all these questions.
Right.
And that's one way. I mean, you do the same thing with experts. You're being paid to sit here today, isn't that right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I just think with that driver, I think when juries feel like somebody is trying to sell something, then it's like,
far with it.
Do you think maybe she told him to say that because he's really the only man that's testifying for her? Like, all the other witnesses for her are women, and maybe she thought having a man say it would feel more powerful. Right. I hate that, because it's like, yes, this is stuff that they're gonna be like, why is this happening?
Right.
And I don't think she paid him. I don't have any reason to think that.
I don't either, but that's the inference you draw.
Right.
Right. And the one person, and in closing, you drive that home. And the one person here today that really had testimony about how he thought Baldoni was a predator is on Blake Lively's payroll.
Right.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah, and I mean, the security guard said he never wanted them alone, but can't remember what, if anything, he did to protect her afterward. Yeah,
that was the part I thought you were going to say, is that he was like, I don't really remember.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. I wasn't really paying attention to that part. I was watching the road. So here's exactly what he said to her. That's one part. And you're like,
yeah.
Oh.
That's the thing. It's just, and I'm just like, yeah, that, and I feel like that's going to stick out to the jury, because I just feel like that is the most... Some of these, it's the same thing with her team in the oral argument saying like the dance scene is the worst bit of evidence, because I'm like, you're saying Jamie Heath walked into your trailer to look at you naked, and you're saying the dance scene is the worst thing that happened?
Yeah.
What about this other guy?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have any reason to be looking at you, right?
Who you've already made allegations. I would love to read her depositions. I
right.
want to know if they asked her about the allegations that Jamie Heath talked about his porn addiction. That doesn't fucking exist.
Right.
That was a bold-faced lie. I will die on that hill. I'm significantly softer. How is that for you? I'm turning up my volume. Cranking up the jams. Is that better? Thumbs up. Somebody asked what went on with Chapel Roan, so I'm going to give you the rundown. Football player hops online and he says, my stepdaughter was made to cry by Chapel Roan security. They were having breakfast. We were all staying at the same hotel. My stepdaughter, huge Chapel Roan fan. We were going to go see the show. Security guard comes over. Like, the daughter was unsure if that was Chapel Roan, walks by her table, doesn't say anything to her. Security comes over and just admonishes her and makes her cry, right? And Chapel Roan responds. She's laying in bed, could not be bothered by the whole situation, and is like, I don't really know. I don't remember that happening. That wasn't my security guard. Blah, blah. Like, just excuse, right? And we know Chapel Roan has, like, an issue with fans. Somebody brings up a video of her in the airport, like, pointing somebody out to security, like, go sick that guy. Right? So Chapel makes her statement. The mom comes online and makes a statement and is like, here are all the things that were untrue about what Chapel said. Doesn't give an opinion on Chapel, but is like, my daughter was so upset she decided she's no longer a Chapel Roan fan and decided to not go to the show. Was it Sabrina Carpenter's fan? Or security guard? I thought it was from the show. Either way, this little girl is crying because of some entitled celebrity that's staying at a hotel where, like, apparently a bunch of rich people are staying.
They all know each other.
You're not in trouble. You're not going to rob each other.
Well, and speaking of, that just reminded me, where is the comment? He is the security guard that was supposed to be on duty when Kim Kardashian was robbed in Paris.
I did see that. He might be a little hyper vigilant now, especially working for somebody like Chapel Roan or being around somebody like Chapel Roan. So
that's a good point.
All of this is going on. And then people start digging into her background the way we have seen people do.
Right.
And we're finding out that Chapel had told the press that she knows what it's like to live in a trailer park, and she grew up poor, and none of that is true. She grew up in an extremely wealthy family, upper middle class, like, she's never wanted for money. Maybe when she struck out on her own, she was poor, but are you really poor if you can run back to mom and dad's house and, like, live with them? Shout out to my mom who I live with. Like,
can I live with your mom?
Come on down. Right. So people started digging into her past and realizing, like, she's lied about who she is in order to sell this face, this brand. It's exactly why we shouldn't deify celebrities. And it's not new. Taylor Swift did the exact same thing.
Are you saying that Taylor Swift doesn't have a
country girl from Tennessee, and I love country? Girl,
are you saying that she did not go through
city girl through and through?
She didn't go through accent training to get rid of that Southern accent?
Right? Like, one album cycle later. Come on.
I do miss country,
but that's
Taylor.
what celebrities do, right? They're selling you a story.
Right.
She's another Vanilla Ice.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, it's not, even if Chapel wasn't involved, I think recognizing that somebody is doing this on her behalf, and this giant security guard man is, like, coming over to a little girl and be like, hey, don't do that. Like, that's terrifying. Yeah, private plane rich. Like, my family doesn't have that kind of, we don't have private plane rich. We just have, I can move back home when I fuck up in the real world kind of money, which is really just means that one or both of my parents at any given time has a spare bedroom.
Right.
My mom no longer has a spare bedroom. Moving on. So yeah, that's the Chapel Roan saga in a nutshell. I'm unclear about who the security guard is. Apparently it was Sabrina Carpenter's. I don't know. So, you know, somebody pointed out, like, he would be under NDA. So for him to just run to the media and be like, here's what actually happened, like, is that?
Well, could it be that Sabrina or whoever he's working for just said,
go make a statement.
Go make a statement, yeah.
I mean, it's PR either way.
Yeah.
That statement he did not write.
Right.
Like, he's a C average in high school. Likely.
Chapel, get Melissa Nathan's number. She's good at writing some of these statements.
I think that's just her security guard protocol. I agree.
Possibly,
it seems like that's, and like, she's allowed to do what she wants to do, right? Like, these are her decisions to make of how vigilant she wants her security to be.
Right.
But she also has to recognize that when it affects a child and that child just so happens to have famous parents, her bio dad, by the way, is Jude Law.
That's true, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not just some random girl. It's not some random rich girl. It's a child of famous people. And she has access. And when that story gets out, to respond without an actual, like, canned PR response and just being like, I'm just going to hit record and see what happens.
Right. That laid back.
Like,
you know, and it does kind of remind me of the Lively situation, because I think one of the things that Blake did in retrospect was, by unfollowing everybody, you know, with that, you remember when Don't Worry Darling came out? Did you see all that kind of stuff? Also,
it almost made me want to watch the movie.
I just saw this where it says, I thought we were living the high life when we got a Viennetta ice cream. Same here, Prickly. Like the Viennetta at Christmas, that was peak. That and the dairy milk, that was the peak Christmas. So like Lively had unfollowed everybody, you know, and everybody's unfollowing each other, and now everyone's paying closer attention, right? Because they're hoping that they can see a little tidbit of what's going on. Maybe they're going to hint at it. Maybe we're going to see where the tension is, you know. And then she draws that spotlight with everyone now she puts herself under a microscope because everyone wants to see what she's going to do next. And then she's like, do they want my location? I'm a Virgo.
Right.
And it comes across so bizarrely that everyone's like, oh, so she must have been the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's kind of what Chapel did. She's like, everyone wants to see what she's going to say. And then what she says is from her hotel room bed and just like, so.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. You don't have to know that harm was done. And if this was a grown woman, we'd be having a different conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, okay, so a security guard made you cry. Like, I don't really get over it. But this is an 11-year-old girl. And, like, for Chapel to just be like, I don't really care. Well, that's your fan base.
Right. Like, you should at least pretend.
Women and girls, right? So.
Right.
Somebody said earlier that smear campaign is going to be the way that white women escape accountability. And I think we're really starting to see that is this sort of brand of white woman that relies on victimhood to escape accountability. And then all of a sudden it starts to be like smear campaign.
Right.
And you're like, that has a meaning.
Right.
The things that were said about Blake were not lies. The things that are being said about Chapel, I'm assuming, are not lie. Like, these things happened.
Right. And I think this is kind of one of the things that is frustrating to me about this case, is that it feels like people are so intent on getting on the right side of something that they don't actually, it feels like you don't even need to make allegations anymore. Right. So, like, you know, there's this one allegation that this irritates the crap out of me in the Lively case, where she says that Justin Baldoni introduced him to his friend, and then says, this guy is my best friend. And it was the guy playing the OBGYN in the film. And the next sentence of the lawsuit is, Miss Lively became concerned that a personal friend of Baldoni's would be in a scene with her where he was kind of like placed between her legs. Right. And then it moves on. So there's no allegation, there's no fact, there's nothing that this man did. But the number of times that I have seen people say, well, Justin's a perv and he got his pervy friend to perv on her. And it's like, what did the perving consist of? What is it what are the actions
filming a scene she knew she was going to be filming?
And it's like, you would have had a person playing the doctor anyway. And it's like, what could this man have done differently that would make it that you were comfortable? And the answer is not be friends with Baldoni.
If I had to bet,
and
I've said before, I'm not a betting woman, but if I had to bet, she wanted to hire someone else.
Yeah.
And he didn't let her have that casting decision, and that's her real issue there.
Interesting.
If I had to bet.
Yeah.
And also, she's just a little bit of like grasping for whatever she can to beef up this
Well,
company,
and what it
right?
does,
Like,
the other thing it does is it kind of solidifies anyone in his circle is evil, right?
sure.
Which, first of all, is really bad about like kind of the legitimacy of a lot of this, right? Because it's like you're saying that this guy is a pervert because he's friends with a guy you don't like. He doesn't even have to do anything.
Right.
But then it's like you've got people that are saying that this man did something, and it's like he didn't. You won't even tell me what he did. We don't even so post truth that we're post allegation. It's not even that you're falsely accusing. You're not even accusing, and everybody's taking an opinion on what this guy did without her having to say anything. And then part of it is like, if you say, well, he's bad, then it's like, well, that's your allegation, you weren't there. You know. And so it's just everyone's rushing to be on the right side of things so early without needing to know what the details are, without needing to know what the allegations are, without needing to know what was said. And then, of course, then it does come out, and then they're just going to dig their heels in to the stance they've already taken.
It goes back to the assumptions conversation we were having earlier, right? Like, you
Right.
have to make an assumption about what happened with this guy, about comments that were made, because those allegations aren't there and we don't have those facts
Right.
presented to us. So it's like, to assume this guy is a perv is exactly that. It's an assumption.
Right. And then, you know, people are going to defend that. They're going to defend, oh, well, he must have done something because otherwise, why would he be in the lawsuit? And it's like, you know, and I feel like if somebody at some point in everybody's life, they're going to have, you know, this is kind of, I've seen like a couple of true crime podcasters where like they have someone in their family that goes missing, or they have a case that they're personally involved with, and they're trying to correct. Well, no. I mean, like where they're already true crime podcasters and then something happens and they're trying to correct the record. And this is part of the reason why I can't stand true crime, because it's like, it's like you dedicate your time to saying, like, this is what happened and let's speculate on this theory. And then if one day it's you're going to discover that everyone has an opinion on the case you're involved in, and no amount of you like yelling into the void is going to correct the misinformation, right? I think I've told you this, but like I was close to the Jomini Ramsey case growing up, and it was like you're just watching people make up a theory, and I'm like, you know, these are people that have to go live the rest of their lives with this theory that you're putting out there. And they're like, but this is entertaining for me. And it's like, then it's you, and you're trying to be like, no, you should care what the facts are.
Right.
You should believe this.
Do what you're going to do. And do what you're going to do. If you're into true crime, fine.
Right.
Don't you think it's a little weird that you find entertainment in people going missing or dying? I'm just asking you to reflect on that in your journal this evening. You don't have to answer to me.
We have an assignment.
We have an assignment. True crime away. I don't care. It's a huge industry.
It is.
I just find it fundamentally strange. And also, hypocritically, I'm super into like death rituals and like spirituality. Like if they're like the Book of the Dead I've read. Like, I love me some Dia de los Muertos and skulls and sugar skulls. So, like, I'm a hypocrite.
Right.
But just, I'm not consuming it 365.
And that's the thing. It's like at some point there will come a moment for you where you are being accused of something, or someone you love is being accused of something, and you're going to want people to care. Like, what was the allegation? Does it make sense? Is it like what's the who, what, where, when, why? You know, what are we saying happened? And a lot of that's why I think it's important. That's interesting why it's like to talk about the jury stuff, because you're going through and you're like, this is what they're saying. This is what they are saying happened. Yeah. And it just does.
There's a difference between reporting and entertainment. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like a lot of the ones that become big entertainment are the white women. I mean, even Gabby Petito's dad was like, fuck, I didn't know this was an issue.
Right,
right. His energy into uplifting the cases of women of color.
Yes.
So,
like,
I didn't pull that out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing. And it's, you know, I think somebody actually, I'm going to put this up here too, because she was banking on women having that exact response. She was banking on women being so committed to getting to finally call out a shitty man that it didn't actually occur to her that she may need to have facts that back up those allegations. because at the end of the day, like, there's people's lives at stake, there's people's careers and futures at stake, you know. And also just stuff like, you've called a bunch of people in a minority religion a cult, you know. This isn't
Abuse
yeah.
is abuse, and it's a smaller subset of feminists, I have learned, but there is a subset of feminists that are like, we are not going to stand abuse no matter who the perpetrator is. So there's enough women out there that are like, whoa, we are seeing signs that actually you did some of the things you're accusing this man of doing, and that's not okay, even though you're a woman. We're not going to give you a pass because you have boobs and kids.
Right.
Because you have a uterus.
And at least we're going to at least have a conversation about, you know, what is it that you are saying happened, and does it make sense? And, you know, it's frustrating to see people that have kind of moved on past what actually happened and trying to figure out the facts of a situation, and just that this is the side that I want to be on, you know.
Yeah. I think we are too far into online accessibility to be able to sell a narrative to the public anymore. I think you still can to a certain degree, but once that starts to fall apart and there are other people's interests to speak out against that narrative, right? Like with Blake Lively and Lively-Baldoni, she tried to sell a narrative to the press and people started digging into it, and it was like, this is actually not quite believable.
Right.
Right? So it's like, I think Blake Lively's PR has been 10 years behind the curve for years. Like, I said that her PR team was behind for the Plantation wedding because they assumed that the issue attention cycle that had existed before the internet, where there's a news story and people care, and then there's a new news story and they don't care anymore. Right? That used to be the cycle. But with Gawker and Jezebel and these other publications, they were bringing stuff up, and she was still doing stuff that caused them to bring it up. Right. But she kept saying nothing, and it kept getting worse for her until her and Gawker are at cease and desist level. Right? Like, this didn't go away for 2 years.
Right.
And it didn't go away even longer than that, because in 2020, they were like, fine, I guess we'll donate some money. Right. So I said back in 2014, her PR is behind the curve. They think we exist in a different world. And I think the same is true today. Her PR team exists in a different world. Right. They think we exist in a world where people can't access dockets and corporate commission filings. And
Leslie Sloan's worst enemy is Carol Snyder. I've said this, and I will continue to say this.
Shout out to Carol and docketupdates.com.
Yes.
She has done... Yeah, you have zero control over the narrative, and there's so much available about people online.
Yeah.
Like, your digital footprint. I mean, look at, what's Mondami's wife's name?
Oh.
Ron Mondami.
I don't remember, but I do know.
She deleted her Facebook account, and people still found her racist texts. You know what I mean? So, like, you can think you're safe.
Am I the only white person that didn't have a racist phase, like racist text message phase on Facebook? I don't know.
It's crazy. And the amount of people that are like, oh, we all went through that. And I'm like,
who the fuck is we?
Like, I said some very insensitive things about religion. But I just can't imagine dropping the N-word.
Okay, I didn't know it was that bad. Yeah, I'm still young.
Rama.
How old do you think I am? Let's do a poll.
Are we French? I just can't. I can't imagine the impetus to say it.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah, like, who the fuck is we?
Sorry, I'm still stuck on this. You're now I need to figure out how to do a poll.
That's the other thing too that I think is a common denominator is, like, I think there's this impulse to jump in and save and protect. And it's like, sometimes the person on the other side just needs to take accountability, and your attempts to save are widening the problem in a way that doesn't need to happen.
Right.
Like with Rama, oh, well, everybody does that. No, we don't. And you don't need to normalize it. Because what you just said to me is you think it's okay that little black kids have to experience that because you went through a phase, right? Or like with Chapel. We don't need to defend this. We can just say, hey, she can do better in the future. We don't need to hate her. We don't need to, like, you know, or with Blake. Had Blake just taken accountability, maybe gone silent for a few days, she would have been fine. Yeah, I'm supposed to endure your entire phase?
Right.
This phase? In 2020, whatever? Like,
and yeah, I don't, but this is let's see. Sorry, there's an age discussion happening now. Let's see.
Yeah, Sarah's almost an old lady like me. I've just aged more poorly because I spend too much time.
I don't go outside. That's the secret.
The sun is trying to kill my people. I should spend more time outside. Take me out. Okay. I did see something last night. Some guy joking held a QR code up, asked for a Bud Light at a game, and got $120,000, which he fully donated to a children's hospital. A newspaper tried to cancel him over it. Well done, sir.
I mean, yeah, I think we are just kind of over this collectively, this sort of PR narrative and this kind of, also, you know, that's the other thing. This whole lawsuit was about people that were going to have PR narratives and like paying attention to PR narratives and wondering what the narrative was, and then looking at this and then deconstructing the PR narrative that is happening with the case.
Right. I mean, that's the thing, right? There's this PR narrative about me. Pay no mind to the PR narrative behind the curtain.
Right.
It's like, well, okay.
Right. We're supposed to believe that some dude with his woke podcast took down, you know, has a 12th dimensional Hawaii team taking people down on the internet.
He does not have the name or the clout, to be honest.
You do have perfect teeth.
Had braces for 5 years. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I was going to say from the bottom of my throat, and I was like, I'm not Blake Lively. I don't need to say stuff like that.
Speaking of things the jury is gonna have questions about, because I'm so confused. You're texting Taylor and you're saying, I hate this guy and he's a clown and he thinks he's a writer. What do you mean? You haven't gotten to know me yet, but when you do, you'll see how flirty the ball busting will play. Like, why are you sending that after the fact? I thought you hated him. Like, you don't, yeah, obviously you need to prepare for the role, but you don't need to like have that kind of rapport. I
think she will try to do the, like, that was me in character. That was me playing with the lines. That was me like trying to be, I think she may try to give some sort of deniability about some of that, but at the end of the day, she's going to give her testimony, likely first. And she's going to get impeached over prior statements she said because she gave a different story to everybody she talked to. So no matter what she says on the stand, there is something to impeach her with. And she's really going to struggle to come back from that credibility. And it's only going to go downhill from there, because once Wayfarer puts on their defense, they can get Sony to get up there and be like, she did this to herself. And like, the jury's going to start off, I think, with a bad taste in their mouth because she's just got too many inconsistent statements. Her legal team needs to be begging her, like, girl, you are not going to win here.
Also,
they're not
like,
doing that, but like,
I mean, I just, because, you know, if you read like the bits of her deposition, you know, they say like, oh, did you ever file an HR complaint? And she's like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, okay. Jury voir dire, jury psychology here. You're not a 20-year-old who got pulled over for underage drinking and you're trying to pretend that the beer isn't yours. You're the plaintiff in a sexual harassment lawsuit, and you're acting like they're offending you by asking you what an HR complaint is.
Yeah.
She has no lead with the jury. Like they're the second and this woman has an uncanny ability to piss people off in about 30 seconds, which is part of the other thing is why I think this happened is because TikTok probably didn't help her, right? Because like that baby bump interview, you don't need to know who any of these people are. You don't need to know, you just know it's an interview. There's actresses. You don't need to know any of the history. And it just, you see like they sit down and the whole thing goes so poorly right off the bat without having any history of the interaction. And it's like, this woman has an uncanny ability to piss people off in under a minute. Yeah. And you're going to put her first on the stand and the jury is going to be like, okay, well, can we vote now? Or do we have to do the next 3 weeks of this trial?
And there was a lot